Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode series here on, well, FM. That's how you mess up an intro. Anyway, we are back for the Italian Grand Prix. We are heading off to the Temple of Speeds, that is Monza, in this episode. In the last episode, it wasn't great, was it? It was the Dutch Grand Prix. We took a gamble putting on intermediate tyres under the safety car after it started to rain, and unfortunately the gamble didn't pay off as it didn't get wet enough to actually wear intermediate tyres, and we ended up spinning out of the race around about halfway into the race. And this episode, things aren't going to get much better in terms of qualifying because unfortunately, as you can see, my ICE is a little bit worn. I don't really have any fresh ones, so I needed a new one of those, and I thought, why not just take a fresh set of everything? It should hopefully last all the way up until the end of the season because I believe this is race number 11 of 16, so we only have 5 races to go after this race. So hopefully bringing in a fresh set of engine components should help me through to the end of the season without taking any more penalties, which is good because other drivers will most certainly be taking penalties as we head towards the end of the season. But it's Italy at the moment. Unfortunately, that means that there's going to be pretty much no qualifying in this episode at all. I do go out for a sort of feeler lap because I have not yet driven around Monza in this game. And so we are going to be just going around for a lap, basically seeing what could have been in a sense, but I don't want to go too fast because then obviously, I don't want to get through to Q2 really. Well, it doesn't really make a difference whether I do or not really, because I'm going to be starting last either way. But there you go, that is pretty much it for qualifying. Let's get on to the race, I guess.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations. And it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With the rain coming down here at the 3.6-mile Monza circuit, the low drag setups preferred by most teams could cause them some problems in today's Grand Prix. So watch out for cars struggling for grip around Parabolica, the last and most demanding of this track's 11 corners. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Vettel, Perez, Stroll and George Russell, Fernando Alonso, Raikkonen, Max Verstappen and Giovinazzi, Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Nikita Mazepin and Nicholas Latifi. Ocon, they've taken a grid penalty. Tsunoda, Schwartzman and Lawrence. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
And things don't get much better because it is raining at the start of this race, and not only is it raining, we're on slicks. We're on dry tyres in the rain. Fantastic. So it's pretty much going to be absolute carnage during the first lap probably, and probably later on as well. It is going to get drier as it goes on, but right now at the start of the race and for the first half of the race or so, it's going to be a wet track, but not wet enough for inters or anything like that. It's going to be wet enough, well, it's not going to be wet enough for wet tyres. We're going to be on dry tyres, so this is going to be really fun. So here we are then as we get ready to start the Italian Grand Prix. Here come the 5 red lights. When they go out, we'll be racing at Monza, and it lights out, and we're underway, and it's a very, very slow start. We struggle to get out of first gear there as we really bog down, but it's fine. We're right at the back. We don't want to do anything stupid. As you can see, Tsunoda nearly getting pushed onto the grass by Nicholas Latifi. We're just going to hang back. We don't want to do anything stupid into turn 1. We're at the back, so we can't really get boxed in, but we do get past Schwartzman and Ocon, and now potentially making a move on Mazepin, but the traction we get out of that second corner is absolutely atrocious. And we now have Schwartzman all over the back of us. Ocon's dropped to last place, which is absolutely ridiculously bad for an Alpine car. And Schwartzman and Ocon, oh wow, the dive from Ocon there. Up the inside of Schwartzman, myself and Mazepin, and Ocon's made his way up to P19 as we've gone wide out of the second chicane, and we've put Schwartzman into the gravel there. So what a chaotic start here at the back. Many people making dive bombs, absolutely mental. And now I'll tell you what though, some other people's starts were more mental as we take a look at those now. So first up, we're looking at the front as the 5 red lights go out, and the 2 Mercedes get a pretty even start. Lando Norris gets a pretty good start. Leclerc gets a good start as well, and he looks to go down the inside of Norris, who's going down the inside of the 2 Mercedes. It's 3 wide into turn 1. Norris down the inside of Bottas, who's in the middle of him and Hamilton. But look at Lando Norris go. He gets the traction out of turn 2 and into the Curva Grande. Lando Norris has the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and the 2 Mercedes are still wheel to wheel behind him, with Bottas getting ahead of Hamilton. So Hamilton and Norris have essentially swapped places there, as Hamilton was on pole position and Norris in third. They've now switched positions, and Lando Norris is up into the lead of the race. But I think the award for best start in this race goes to my teammate Yuki Tsunoda, starting in P20. He actually got a grid penalty because he got through to Q2. But look at him, he goes down the inside here. Look at Latifi nearly push him off. Schumacher's in front of him, and Tsunoda basically just follows Schumacher through. They both make absolutely mega dive bombs, and from P20 on the grid, Yuki Tsunoda is up to P11 and make that P10, as the traction he gets out of turn 2 is much better than that of Sebastian Vettel, and he's gained 10 positions in the first corner, in the first 2 corners, has Yuki Tsunoda. Mick Schumacher as well, fair play to him. He's also up to 8th place in the Williams after starting, I think, 16th or 17th. Mega dive from him as well. But Yuki Tsunoda, that is what I wanted to see from him. But the battles on lap 1 are not over, as Lando Norris is already coming under pressure from Valtteri Bottas. Bottas wants that lead for the first time in this race, goes around the outsides at the Parabolica. Norris still keeps the position for the time being, but Bottas is going to get a better line out of the final corner, and is now alongside the McLaren going down the pit straight. And Lewis Hamilton is also looking to get involved as well, but he's gone the wrong side. He's boxed himself in now. If he'd have gone to the inside, he probably would have taken the lead, but instead he's basically allowed Lando Norris to get the lead back again, because Norris has got that inside line into turn 1, which turns into the outside for turn 2, and now around the Curva Grande, and once again Lando Norris retakes the lead of the race, but Bottas is still there with him. He has a little wiggle as they come out of the turn, and Lando Norris retakes the lead. That could have been Hamilton's lead if he'd have gone down the inside instead of tucked in behind his teammate. We're now on to lap 5, and we get an interesting call from Jeff to pit onto mediums on lap 12. My initial strategy was soft medium, because I wanted to cover off the fact if it was still wet when I did my first stop, but Jeff says medium 4 laps later. So I'm going to trust him on that one. I'm probably one of the only people in the world to actually trust Jeff, but I'm going to trust him on that one. I'm going to trust him and just pray that it is dry come lap 12, because if it's not dry, we're going to have a serious issue on those mediums, because we'd be going absolutely nowhere. Anyway, we're currently looking at Mick Schumacher right now. He's dropped all the way back to P15 from P8, so I don't know if he's had an issue or something, but he's definitely had an issue now, as he's off the road, he's into the gravel. I don't know if he got a push from Gasly behind, but out of nowhere, Mick Schumacher is into the gravel at the second chicane, and he's actually slowing down. He's now stuck in second gear. He's gone down to first again, but he pulls over to the side of the road, and he's out of the Grand Prix. I don't know if he had a mechanical failure coming out of the corner, but out of nowhere, Mick Schumacher is off the road and out of the race. As we're on lap 6, going into lap 7, and we're finally sizing up a move on the Williams of Nicholas Latifi. We've been stuck behind him for this entire time, but now down the straight, we've got the momentum. The track's definitely drying out a little bit now. Latifi doesn't really stay right in the middle of the track, but we go down the inside late on and we get through the first chicane and we're up into P19, but it might not be over yet as Latifi gets better traction than me off the second turn, and round the Curva Grande we go. We've managed to block him off. We've gone on the grass a little bit there by accident. Latifi might have a dive down the inside of the chicane, maybe. No, not quite. He doesn't really consider it, and we're up into P19 finally. But lap 10 now, and some people have already pit for new tyres, and two of those people are Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton, who have caught up to me at a rate of knots. Into the Ascari chicane, we are ahead of Lando Norris, but very quickly, look at him go. Again, Hamilton has boxed himself in instead of going for the slipstream, like going down the inside instead. Into the Parabolica though, we're on the inside now. We've cut off Lando Norris, and that's allowed Lewis Hamilton to get through instead, as we try and just stay in the slipstream really, because we want to try and get as much speed as we can. But how will we shape up against the two fastest cars at this track, the Mercedes and the McLaren? Definitely, with their straight line speeds, are definitely the two fastest cars. We have DRS on Hamilton, who also has DRS, but down the inside of turn 1, or outside of turn 1 and inside of turn 2, we managed to get the jump on Lewis Hamilton, and we're now wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton. He's got slightly ahead of us again, so we stick behind him in the slipstream. Now can we make a move into the second chicane? We pull to the inside of the Mercedes and we get through, back up into P11 for the time being. It's not long before we make our pit stop. But right now, I'm enjoying battling these top cars, so I might as well stick with it. And now we look at the battle for what is currently P11, but could be for bigger points later on. Max Verstappen on Lance Stroll. As they head towards the Parabolica, Stroll's on the inside line. Verstappen looks to go around the outside. He's looking to make a brilliant move, but Stroll's lost it. He spun at the Parabolica. Verstappen didn't clip him there. Stroll did it all by himself, and he's dropping down the order all the way to nearly last place. Even we've gone past him. Sonoda's gone past him. He let Schwartzman go past him there. He's down to what is the penultimate place on the grid, and now he is last as Latifi passes him. Whilst we're battling Lando Norris still, but it is now time to come into the pits and change our tyres. We're going onto a set of medium tyres. The track, luckily, is now dry. I was hoping it would be dry, because like I said, if it wasn't dry, we'd have a serious problem pitting onto mediums, but luckily the track is now fully dry and we can go properly racing on the medium tyres as we come out of the pits now on our fresh set of mediums. And can we take these to the end? As we now head on to lap 20, and we're looking at the battle for P2, and that is net P2, by the way, with the likes of Hamilton, Bottas and Norris two-stopping. All these guys have gone onto medium tyres and are looking to make the one-stop work. Yes, Charles Leclerc is 10 seconds in the lead as we watch Daniel Ricciardo breeze past Sergio Perez and up into second place. Yes, Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari at Monza is 9.9 seconds, now 10 seconds in the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. That is the stuff of dreams for Leclerc in a Ferrari. Back to our POV now, and we are on lap 23 of 27, and we're in P14 and we're behind, P15, and we're behind Lance Stroll. We're now in P14 as we've lost Pierre Gasly from this race. I have no idea what happened to him, and I clearly forgot what happened to him because I didn't put a replay camera for it. I did the replay cameras a day after I recorded it, so that's probably why I missed it out. But we are now behind Lance Stroll, just looking to stay in his slipstreams, try and catch up to Alonso maybe. I don't know, we're fighting for pride at this point. We're probably not going to get points unless a massive crash happens ahead. But yeah, we are gaining on Lance Stroll though. We could maybe try and overtake him in the last 3 laps. We will wait and see. Meanwhile, the battle for P2 still rages on, and Perez has now got DRS on Daniel Ricciardo. Sainz is not far behind either, and George Russell, who's all the way up in 5th in the AlphaTauri, doing a very nice job as Perez goes round the outside of Ricciardo. The job's still not done though as they go into the first chicane, but coming out of the first chicane, Daniel Ricciardo gets the better traction and leaves Perez in his wake, and now Carlos Sainz is looking to maybe get involved in this and take the podium place away from Sergio Perez, but Perez might not still be done on Ricciardo. Sainz has a look around the outside, but there's nothing doing, and now George Russell comes into play as well. He's closed up to this pack and is looking for a podium place in only his 3rd race for AlphaTauri. As we're near the end of lap 26, we're heading towards the final lap of the Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz looking to make a move on Sergio Perez around the outsides of the Parabolica. Perez is just going to keep it ahead for now, but Sainz gets the better traction as he's got the outside line, and Sainz, before we even get to the DRS zone, is ahead of the Red Bull. They both have DRS though, because they're both close enough behind Ricciardo. Russell also has DRS, trying to get the slipstream from Ricciardo instead of the battling Ferrari and Red Bull. But into turn 1, Sainz has got the job done on Perez, and right now we have 2 Ferraris on the podium. Charles Leclerc looks like he's going to run away with this race, but Carlos Sainz also finds his way onto the podium as well. As we're now on the final lap, and Charles Leclerc has won the race, but just ahead of us, look at the 2 Mercedes going wheel to wheel around the Parabolica. Bottas on the outside of Hamilton, and just across the line, Bottas is just going to get ahead of his teammate and finishing P9. The 2 Mercedes battling for minor points. Their 2-stop strategy has absolutely ruined them this afternoon. It's a photo finish between the 2 Mercedes, but Bottas gets it by 17 thousandths. But for us, it's a measly P14 in the end. I mean, we've done well considering we started last on the grid, but we want to be doing better. I thought our car would suit this track a bit more because of the straight line speed and not many corners, but at the end of the day, the chicanes are what ruined us. We still don't have enough aero. Our aero is shocking at the moment, and it's something we really need to work on.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
Charles Leclerc gets his 2nd win of the season and his 2nd win at Monza. What a podium that is. Leclerc, Ricciardo, Sainz. 2 Ferraris on the podium at Monza. You absolutely love to see it. But for us, once again, not a very strong race at all. We finish in P14, and Yuki Tsunoda actually finishes in P16. So he's still finished behind us despite that mega start, which took him up 10 places from P20 to P10. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous this race. Although there wasn't really much action around me, there was plenty of action all the way around the track, and we needed a race like that because the last couple haven't been that action-packed, if you ask me. But anyway, absolutely, well, we had pace, but not enough pace, but it is something we really need to sort out because we are suffering in corners. We have no downforce in the car. As we look at the drivers' standings, and Bottas has extended the gap by only 2 points, but still extending the gap nonetheless. Max Verstappen has come out of absolutely nowhere, and suddenly he's only 27 points behind Bottas. For me, we dropped down 1 place to P14. George Russell got P5, by the way, which is absolutely outstanding. It's only his 3rd race in the AlphaTauri, and he's already got 16 points. Bearing in mind he had no points before he joined AlphaTauri. Constructors, we're still in 8th. I'm very surprised that Alfa Romeo have not scored a point yet. Haas and Williams, I'm not expecting to score any points. It's very close between AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. AlphaTauri leapfrogged them into 5th, only 1 point ahead of them. So very, very tight battles in the Constructors right now. But if you thought this episode was done, we have so much more to do. First of all, the chassis department event. Overworked staff, we decline this because I do not want to lose 750 R&D points. We need all the R&D points we can get right now. We also have plenty of time before the next race as well. The thing with the last 3 races is it's been a triple header, so we haven't really had time to do any activities in between, but we actually have enough time in between this Grand Prix and the next one to do all of the activities, which is always nice because yeah, after a triple header, it's always nice to have like a 2-week break, or I think in this case it's more of a 3-week break because, of course, we're not doing the Russian Grand Prix in this, or the Singapore Grand Prix in this season, so we're missing out 2 Grand Prix in between Italy and the next race, which is at Japan. As we now go into the aero department, and finally we're going to upgrade the fabrication, which means that we can now do more than one upgrade in the chassis department, the aero department, which is exactly what we needed. We needed to be able to make more than one upgrade in that department because we are really struggling with aero right now, and we now have the R&D points to go and make some more aero upgrades, which is exactly what we're going to do. I'm straight in there, mate. You best believe that I am upgrading as many aerodynamic bits as I possibly can, and the first thing on the list is the barge boards. That's the only thing we have at the moment. It's discounted as well, 26% failure chance. We are just going to go for it. We are going to develop the barge boards. As we very quickly head into another department event, this time it is for the aero department. Our facilities are relatively functional, apparently, just right now. So we are going to make improvements to improve recreational options for staff because they could be getting a bit bored here and there. It improves the morale by 20%. We do lose 50k in cash, but that's nothing in terms of what we have right now, which is $1.63 million. And so far as well, you haven't seen this, but all the upgrades we've made to the car so far are passing. They're passing through. None of them are failing at all. And we now have loads of R&D points again, so we're just making upgrades left, right and centre to the powertrain, to the aero, to the chassis. We're just going all in with these upgrades right now, which I absolutely love because we haven't had a chance to do this yet. I said this episode was nowhere near done yet. We have another department event, this time in the personnel, and there's a proposal on the table to invest more time and money into running a program of one-to-one sessions with staff members. Yes, we are implementing that new program. We're getting another 750 R&D points from this event, which means that, guess what? We can go and make more upgrades. And this is exactly what we do by getting some new tyre blankets on the chassis side. And then also we've got some durability upgrades to do as well. We're going to buy a new MG UK. We get a more durable MG UK, which is always nice. Upgrades left, right and centre here. I am not messing about. We now move on to another department event. This time it is for the powertrain, and we get a discount on the magnetic compound no matter what here. If we agree to throwing a party for the department, we lose 20k in cash. If we disagree, the department morale goes down by 10%. So you best believe that I am agreeing to this because, you know, I'm not about to lose morale for any of the departments. Everything seems like it's on a high right now. And we have now amassed the money to make more facility upgrades, and I am now going to spend $2.2 million on the fabrication for the powertrain, so we can now make simultaneous upgrades on the powertrain as well. It's only the durability department left where we can't do that, but at the moment our durability is absolutely solid. Yes, of course we've had to take grid penalties and that, but that was due to the initial launch of the game, where in the quick practice the parts wore out way too quickly. Because we've got the money, we're going to spend some money on our driver perks as well. We're going to get level 2 on development feedback, which means that we've now got 25% boost in R&D point income, and also we're going to spend some on the media coaching as well because we're yet to do that. But that is finally going to be it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more, and if you don't want to miss a video, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button and you'll get a notification whenever I upload. But until next time guys, thanks so much for watching. Peace.